Hello, welcome to another PG rated review. I'm Patrick Gleason, your host from Out of the Basement. Today's movie is a new one, Ready Player One. Yes, I finally saw a new movie again. Ready Player One is the newest one from Steven Spielberg and based on a book written by Ernest Cline, who also was one of the screenwriters. So first I'll be going through what the background of the movie is and the book, and then giving you sort of my rating, and then I'm going to spoilers with a new segment of the good, the meh, and the not so good. So to start off with, the background of the book is basically it's in the future, 2045, and there's a young protagonist, and this is a trope that's been used a lot. Young guy who is an outcast, doesn't have too many friends. Things happen. He has to sort of become the hero for the world, the universe, whatever. And through finding friends and actions, he saves the day. So like I said, you've seen this in Star Wars and a whole bunch of other places. So it's set in the future, and again, it's a horrible place. Most of the people in the world play this online game called Oasis from Gregarious Games. Gregarious Games was created by Steve Halliday, who's the genius behind the whole new sort of interactive MMO, multiplayer games. Sort of, it's a whole, not just a universe. It's basically multiple universes. So you can create whatever you want to. There's all sorts of worlds for investigation, for romance, for combat. But there's also space travel. You can do space combat. All sorts of things available for anybody out there. And since the world is such a terrible place, most people go online. Now, Oasis is worth trillions, basically. It's insane amount how much money it is. It's the biggest company there is. The next biggest one is IOI, which is pretty much that's the connection to Oasis. So if you want to get to Oasis, you usually have to pay IOI for internet speed, internet access, and also now the gameplay. So not just 3D goggles, but they have fully interactive. So you have mostly like a trackball, a track pad you run on, and your hands and stuff move. The more advanced technology you can have full body suits that feel and react to everything in the game via controls. So it's quite impressive technology. And again, Oasis though was set up to be it's free for people to use. So now here's the difference between the book and the movie. Is in the book, and I wish they had done this in the movie. I'll talk more about that later. But the schools are all through Oasis because most places don't have enough money to run schools or keep bus people there and all that sort of pay for books and all that sort of stuff. So everything is online. It's in Oasis. So you log into Oasis with your student account and you go to school, and you don't have avatars there. It's basically sort of what you would look like, because they want that as the school environment. But then after school, then that's when all the kids they go out, they get off the school system, and they go into Oasis for the playing the games, all the war games, all that sort of stuff. But I said that's not in the movie. They got rid of that. Like I said, I wish they had. I'll talk more about that. Sorry. So basically, the founder of Oasis died a few years ago. And he left an online will which said basically he's left Easter eggs and clues within the system, within Oasis, in different places where if you find them, you will get the Easter egg, which is basically control of Oasis. Now, IOI, again, is a huge company. They basically want to get that prize because they want to own Oasis. They can bring in advertisements and billboards and, pay to win sort of games and that sort of stuff, which is not there. Oasis set up, like I said, it's pretty much to be mostly free. Like you pay for access and stuff like that, like have accounts, but most of everything else is pretty much free in there. You get in-game credits and that, but it's not paper. No real money in the world in Oasis. So there is that difference, and as I said, now IOI wants to have, so they have a whole bunch of people that work for them who go into the games and are trying to find the clues. Since they have lots of money, they can afford to pay gamers to just go in and go through the games and try in all the worlds. It's not just games, but the worlds to try and find the clues so they can get the Easter egg and own Oasis. The Gunters, which are the non-IOI players, they're they have guilds and that sort of stuff, teams, guilds, but they don't, they're not really united. Wade manages to find the first prize, the first clue. And again, in the book and the movie, it's different. In the books, it's actually puzzles and clues. You have to go through the stuff, like, because Halliday was a big D&D fan, all the very first computer games, Atari games, all that sort of stuff, the Trash 88 games, all those sort of ones, way back when, even Robotron and Joust, and even earlier games. So he was a huge fan of those games and also movies. So you had to study his whole life, his whole stuff, and basically have no other life. Nothing. That's pretty much what Wade's life is school and then that. Now, again, in the book and in the movie, he's the one who finds the first clue, but in the movie, it's a race. You see parts of it in the trailer, so I'm not giving too much away here. I'm not going to do spoilers yet. In the book, it's, like I said, it's actual clues, and you have to figure out a location, and then from there, you get the key, and then the clue for the next one. So Wade is the first one who finds it, and then that sets up a whole chain of events where IOI wants to find out who this Parsifal guy is, and Artemis is another one, gamer who also is a top gamer. So they're trying to track them down and stop them from finding all the rest of the clues and the keys in order to make sure that they don't get control of Oasis, but IOI does. Now, in the book and in the movie, they have these things called loyalty centers. Basically, that's where people who owe money to Oasis, to IOI, get sent. And I'll go into that more in the not so good, because there's aspects I want to talk about that. But basically, that's what happens. So there's the loyalty centers where you owe money to IOI, and you get sent there to just work dead end jobs, indentured servitude, basically. So back to the overall movie. That's what's basically the background for what's going on in the movie. And since it's Spielberg, it's visually stunning, it's well done, it flows well, and yes, there are tons of nostalgic characters in there. Like there's stuff you have to pay attention to for walk-on characters, words they're saying, and all that, to try and go, oh, I know that's from that movie, and then that's from that scene, and that's from that game. It's there. This is definitely the ultimate nostalgia porn movie. That's what it's about. And it's good. It does it well. It's a nice, light, fluffy movie. Now, it's not as up there with Blade Runner 2049 or Logan or Children of Men or movies like that. It's Spielberg. It's not his best, but it's still fun. And that's what this movie comes down to. It's basically a fun, fluff, action movie, and that's visually stunning. So my rating is be sort of 9 out of 12 decent beers you have with your friends on a summer patio day where you just want to kick back, have some fun, enjoy yourself, but not get too not have to have a movie that you have to think too much about. So 9 out of 12. Of you and your friends' beers that you get regularly that you don't have to think. You just go, I'm willing to pay a little bit extra for, but not super premium ones. So it's, like I said, that's what it is, a 9 out of 12 decent buddy flick movies. So now, like I said there, now I'm going to, spoilers, spoiler alert, talk about the movie, and it's going to be the good, the meh, and the not so good. And of course, since I go back and forth and ramble, there'll be some mixed in between there. So the good, well, Steven Spielberg. He does a great job. And there is a lot of characters in here. All the actors do fairly well. They're pretty believable. And they're just a lot of fun. There is things in there where you see King Kong. It is so well done. Megasaurus, Mega Godzilla. Sorry, not Megasaurus. Mega Godzilla is hilarious. They have you're gonna watch this probably a lot of times to see all the different characters and ships and cars in there. The DeLorean is there, and it's so well done. It's great from the Back from the Future. It's great. The turtles are in there. You've got RoboCop in a quick little flash, and that. So sorry to ramble here, but like I said, that's part of the good stuff. It's the story isn't that good. It's a fluff story. I can't say the story's great. It's an okay one. It's been done a lot. It's nothing new. But what is good about this one is I recommend it in 3D because it is stunningly amazing. And since it's Spielberg, overall really well directed. The meh, well, again, because like I said, it's been done a lot, and it's just sort of, nothing new. The villain reminded me very much of RoboCop, not the main villain, but the guy who is one who first brings out the the RoboCop plan. That one, the guy who gets killed by, uh, Red Granger from that '70s show. He gets killed by him. That's the guy that the bad guy here reminded me so much about. I actually checked at IMDb. It's not the same actor. It's too bad because he has sort of the same mannerism, the sort of same way of dealing with things. So that I liked, but like I said, it was just sort of meh for that. Now, again, in the book, they had the schooling, and that's where, for me, I wish they had done that in the movie. Like, it didn't have to be talking about it, do the show, not tell. You have scenes where he starts off, he goes into Oasis, and he has to go to school first, and he has to do some stuff there. That would have been a nice, just a few minutes of that. So other stuff they could have gotten rid of. There was, some scenes with the board of directors and then the company that were not really important. Were sort of, they could have just got that out and wouldn't have missed. And like I said, then you introduce the fact that Oasis is also for schools and education and stuff, not just gaming. Because in this one, all you feel is like it's just for gaming. And you're going, well, why is everybody using Oasis if it's only for gaming? No, it's not. It's for education. It's for learning. It's for just, sitting down and lying on a beach which you can't do in real life. So that's the show that it's not just gaming stuff, it's where people go to get away from the world, which in the book was better described and better explained than it was in the movie. Another part was basically the loyalty centers in the book. When you go into there, they're dead-end jobs. They're basically end up having to do tech support for IOI, which is not, oh, I can't get the game. It's, how do I connect? My internet's not working. My password doesn't work. Why am I not getting, my billing, all that sort of stuff. That's what they have to do pretty much, 8 to 10 hours a day, nonstop to pay off their debt. Now, of course, it's indentured servitude, so, food is taken care of, but they're not prisoners. In the movie, it looks like they're complete prisoners. They're almost like I said, they're under lock and key and everything. They're locked in place all the time. Now, that's there in the book as well, but they also in the books they actually go have their sleeping quarters are there. They have they're not really free, but they have better amenities. They can go online in limited areas for Oasis and that. So that's again the change that wasn't the best. Now there are some good parts of the changes that they did to cut out because if you're doing an action movie, you're not going to do the puzzles which they did in the book. So that I don't mind. Again, though, just show more of the games they were playing in. They did a lot of older games, some D&D stuff, which would have been nice to have again them talking about on games so you could show it, not through exposition, through them talking about it, but also you could show them watching games or playing through some of the old games in that to get a feel of that for more nostalgia. That I would have liked as well. But other than that, there's not too much that was just man with it. It was really good. But there are a few things that are not so good with it. No, not a few things, but there's some that stuck out to me. One of the big ones for me was, okay, it's a global global worldwide experience, right? You got people from all over the world that are connecting up to this to play the games, to just take a break, or learn or communicate with people from all across the world. So, you have the two Japanese characters from the games. Well, they're actually living in Japan. You have 1H, she's living in East Coast. You have Artemis, who's living somewhere else, and Parsifal is a different place, and IOI is the big company, again, somewhere else. In the movie, they're all in the same fucking city. Like, everyone's in the same goddamn city. Like, IOI's here, the Stacks are here, Artemis lives here. It's... Guys, why do you have them all in the same fucking city? Like, I understand you're trying to shrink the time down to so you can do a movie, but you can still show passage of time in a movie properly, especially with Spielberg. He knows how to do this. So put them in different parts of the world or the country, and have them talk and make find flights and ways to get have to sneak on planes or drive across the country or whatever to get to the planet, to where Wade is, and then get to Oasis or IOI. And again, like I said, it's supposed to be a global, worldwide connection, and everyone's in the same fucking city. Everything's right there. That pissed me off. That was like, what? Well, so then another one that's like didn't get shown in the book, but then I saw the review from that movie chick, and she talked about this issue. In the book and in the movie, Artemis, her real name is Samantha, has a birthmark. Now, in the book, it's obviously the way it's described is much more pronounced on her side of her face. But in the movie, it's this tiny little thing, which is nothing, right? Like nothing. Now, but then in the book and in the movie, even though she hasn't met Parcel too many times online and almost has never met him outside online, when they meet, she's shy and covers up. She's very self-conscious about the birthmark. And she's afraid to show him and everything. And then he says, "Oh, no, you look beautiful anyways." And then she doesn't feel as shy about it in the movie. She like puts her hair back and wears it like that all the time afterwards. Okay, see, that's an issue. This is a guy she's barely met, barely knows, and she's been self-conscious about this birthmark for some reason. But as soon as this guy says, "No, you're okay," oh, then thank you. I'm all that better. Why was I afraid of this? And that I didn't like. It's 2018. Like that should have been gone. I mean, it was a book written for teens, and Ernest Cline. A lot of people can't write women properly. That's fine. It's not fine, but it happens. But Spielberg and the movies nowadays, you should know this. So that part, I wish he had gotten, like, write that part out. Have her have the birthmark or whatever, but have her be more, assertive of herself. Show that she knows she has the birthmark but doesn't care, or it's part of her. It's what makes her her. So that's another thing that I had a bigger issue with as well. Oh boy. So I've been going on for, those are the two things that really stuck it out to me, was that. The other one that is not as big as those two, but again, they're in the book. They ask when they're doing the big fight at the end against IOI. He calls out to all the Gunters to come help them, or else they're going to be, having to pay for Oasis. So everyone does come over to help. And now, like, again, in the movie, it did represent people, doing the movements, like the We Connect movements that are translated into in-game. But when he puts the call out as they're driving through the city, because again, it's all in the same fucking city, pretty much everyone in the city is online and doing this. Like everywhere, like almost 90% of the city from where they're driving by is doing this. Like, okay, that's a little much. I wouldn't say everyone at the same time is connected on, and everyone's a Gunter who goes out to save this. So that was a little not the greatest. But again, overall, it's still a fun, fluffy movie. Don't get me wrong. So don't look into it as much as I do, but those are some of my bigger issues with the movie. So again, there's a couple other smaller ones, but you watch the movie yourself, you make up your own view, and you can see if you like the same things I do or dislike the same things I do or have different opinions. That's fine. That's what it's about. Anyways, sorry for rambling and talking quickly there a few times. Thank you very much, and have yourselves a great day. Hi, if you liked that video, please like and subscribe to our channel. And if not, just do it for the kitten.